Hi, and welcome to Alien Reddit Stories, where I tell alien stories off of Reddit. Let's just get into it. I'll leave the link in the description of the video. What I'm about to tell you isn't about me ever seeing a UFO, but what my grandfather swears to be true and had experienced back in the day. This event was also told to me the same by other older folk in the same generation as my grandfather. They all swear it to be true, and I also can't come up with a reason to find why they would all lie. Keep in mind, my grandfather and the other old folks said that this happened back in the day, say between 1935 to 1945. Yeah, imagine it's back in the day, so you're talking about your grandfather. The reason they're not sure is because they never really paid attention to full calendar dates. Probably occupied with the Great Depression and the World War II and what have you know what I mean? But I digress. The reason they're not sure is because they never really paid attention to full calendar dates. Mind you, they lived in villages in northern Iraq. Okay, so that was a whole L on my end. So technology and modernity wasn't up to speed at that time and location. Some backstory. During the summers of northern Iraq, all the men in the villagers ever did was work their farmlands. Build homes, structures, more farms, and mainly bring food to the family's table. Women did all of the chores. Cooking at home, making sure to prep their children for school, and having everything packed up and ready for the husband to take to his work. I guess the farm is his work, right? When winter hit, nobody was farming, working, or doing anything outside since the villages were a little more elevated on the mountains. Oh, he must mean like the Kurdistan or Erbil. That's in the northern Iraq by the Turkish border. I know, smart. So obviously, the snow and cold prevented them from doing the majority of work outside, and most of the villages would just stay in and live off of what they gathered in the summer. Kind of like the grasshopper and the ants, eh? Also, the winter was an ideal time to get married, and everyone, in bold letters for some reason, got married in the winter. And so, what my grandfather told me starts here. My grandfather was at the reception building and was pretty much enjoying the wedding dinner there. The singer supposedly was taking way too long to come back from relieving himself of what seemed to be number 2. Okay, interesting. Mind you, 1930s Northern Iraq didn't have toiletries, I think he meant toilets, that we have today. To take a dump, come on buddy, really, you have to go outside, hike a 5-minute walk towards the waste areas, dig a hole, squat, and plop. Like a horse, eh? Squat and plop, really? That's how you're gonna put it? Then you have to bury your isht and walk back to wherever you were. Like a cat? So the singer was gone for about an hour or more, and all of the guests were curious and some worried. Yeah, an hour is a very long time to be out in the mountains in the winter. My grandfather goes outside and finds snow footholds going in one direction. I think he just meant snow tracks. Footholds is a lot hilarious way to put it. All of the other tracks that we saw were supposedly bi-directional, showing that they had the person trekking to and from wherever they were going. So eventually he finds that the footholds stop and no other tracks were around where he was standing. No squat prints, no waist holes, nothing. He goes back to the wedding, and about half an hour later the singer walks through the entrance. The groom was pissed and started yelling and asking where the hell he's been. Yeah, he paid for him and he's gone for an hour. Like, come on buddy, the festivities. Some women were crying in hysteria thinking he might have slipped or broke something. Probably his family. I guess they're tribal people, so maybe it's tribal people. Yeah, I guess they're all family at this point. But I digress. Everyone is curious, and my grandfather notices that he has a little pail. The singer warms up a bit and tells that, I think he meant he was a little, yeah, I read that wrong, sorry, that he was a little pale. The singer warms up a bit and tells what he'd witnessed. This is what he said with slight adjustments to the language translation. As I said to the other entertainers, I was going to relieve myself outside. I was walking to find a spot when I was suddenly approached from behind by 2 figures. They asked me, "Do you want to go somewhere far?" I asked them, "What do you mean by far?" The 2 figures said, "How about China?" They had this floating vehicle above them, hover close to the ground. They took me by the arm, and I walked into it. We suddenly flew very high. Okay, and very fast. Sorry about that delay, I am exhausted. But I gotta keep these alien Reddit stories going. Eventually, we got there, and I walked down and wandered the countryside for a little bit. I went back to the two figures and said that I want to go back. So we did, and they dropped me off and flew away really fast. I walked back, and now I'm here. Some people thought the singer drank too much and was speaking crazy. Everyone was relieved that he was safe and back to the party. But pretty much everyone called his recollection BS. But the weird part happens when the singer reveals to the guests. Apparently the singer grabbed a flower bunch before heading back to the ship. Everyone was in shock because there was nowhere in hell those flowers could have come from northern Iraq during winter. It was all snow, and this plant couldn't have grown anywhere near up the mountains in that harsh winter. Whether or not you want to believe it, or it's up to you, but my grandfather and other older guys swear it to be true. All of them saw the flowers and they weren't fake or anything. Real ass flowers. TLDR, too long didn't read. Circa 1935 to 1945, winter wedding in northern Iraq. Singer gets abducted by two aliens and they take him to China, where he grabs real flowers and brings it back to the wedding. Snow everywhere, so flowers couldn't have come from that area. That's ridiculously terrifying. But damn, how did they know China? Also, I'll leave my email in the description. And so if you guys want to send me a story, feel free to. Also, I'm trying to grow this channel, so if you guys want to subscribe, that would really help. And leave a comment, a like. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time on Alien Reddit Stories. What could be out there?